Assalamu alaikum, you're watching the Haider Rifaat show and I'm your host Haider Rifaat. Today I'm joined by Usman Mukhtar, who is an actor, director, and he is all set to star in the upcoming film Parchi. Thank you so much, Usman, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
For those people who really do not know more about you, how would you describe your early life in childhood?
Well, I was a very naughty kid, and I was sent to a boarding school when I was in my third grade. So I spent most of the time in a boarding school, and then there was this trick shop on Mall Road in Murray. There was this they had all these tricks and like you know those bandages with nails in them. You put them on, it feels like your nails gone through your finger. So a lot of those things were there, and I would go and I'd get those makeup things and come back. My sister had this really old school camera. So I'd put that and I'd put makeup on my face and I just do weird things in front of the camera. Thank God the tapes cannot be found anymore. But yeah, that's something. And my grandfather was a lawyer, and he wanted me to become a lawyer. I wanted to become a cricketer, so I never even thought of becoming a filmmaker, an actor. But I always did these things with cameras, and I was into editing. I was a big time wrestling fan, so I'd always edit because Undertaker, this wrestler, was one of my favorites. So I would make tribute videos on Windows Movie Maker and stuff. So I was very, much into editing and like. One day there was this ad about Kara Film Festival, and a friend of mine at that time said that you should make a film, a short film. I said I have no idea. I have no knowledge or no expertise to kind of make movies and stuff. So she said, no, you keep editing stuff and you keep doing that. I'm pretty sure you can. So that's when I first actually thought of making something film related. And yeah, that's how it started. Then because I was doing, I was auditioning and stuff. And when I was directing during my first project, this friend of mine saw me and he was doing theater and he's like, oh, I want you to come and audition for me. And I said, I don't act. And he's like, Nini, I've seen you while you're directing and stuff, so just come and audition. So I auditioned and I got the part. And when I went on stage for the first time, that's when I realized that theater has a different high. I mean, when you go in front of those 350 people and you perform and the kind of energy you get from them, you're an actor's feeding off the energy of the audience. And it's such a great feeling to be on stage. So that's how I got into acting.
When did you first realize that acting was something that I wanted to do?
When I went on stage for the first time.
And do you think theater is different from on-screen television?
Definitely.
And what aspects do you have to consider for both?
See, television is small screen. And when you're shooting on camera, there's no audience, so you cannot feed off the energy of the audience.
Yeah, true.
You're just in front of the camera. Sometimes you have low energy, you still have to perform, and it's very different from theater. When you're on theater, it's such a great feeling, man. The energy from the crowd when you're performing in front of those people, and the adrenaline is a very different feeling. And I think theater just died down in Islamabad. When there was no theater happening anymore. So that's when I thought, okay, maybe I should start acting, do films or television or whatever.
Okay. Do you like direction more or acting more?
Direction. Direction's always been.
And what are your reasons behind that?
See, the thing is, I've always wanted to create something from scratch. Like, I wanted to tell a narrative. I've always wanted to do that. And the kind of satisfaction I get from directing, I don't get that from acting. Because acting, I'm being told by someone else to do something, And I love acting, but direction is something that I would create something from scratch, and that be my. I'd leave a little bit of myself inside that project, right? I believe like if there's one script, and if you give it to 4 different directors, they'll give you 4 different products. It's never going to be the same thing
same
because
thing.
every director has his own take, and that's where I feel like I would want to kind of excel. Acting is something I like doing, but if it's between direction and acting, I definitely choose direction.
So, being new to this, not this industry overall, but commercial cinema,
Yeah.
what struggles do you have to put up with as an actor?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, there's a lot of struggles though. I mean, the first problem is, um, I've been doing this for the past 10, 11 years, and you know, I'm more into parallel cinema. I've been directing for a while. I've been acting for a while. But I mean, no one really knows me. People keep saying that, oh, you're new to the industry, which I'm not. I've been doing this for the past 12 years. Why? Because I haven't done dramas. I haven't done like the commercial stuff. So that's why people think, oh, I'm new. And that's the struggle which most of the people go through, that or your face needs to be sellable. You need to be, even if you have talent or not, doesn't really matter. अगर आपने आप audience पसंद कर रही है, आपकी कोई TRP बढ़ा रहे हैं किसी चैनल की या कुछ भी, तो आप जो है वो sellable हैं. I mean, it really doesn't depend on talent. And I'm not saying I'm talented, I'm generally saying for kids, for people who want to be in this industry, the problem is that, I mean, in this country, someone as talented as this guy Kamal, who I think is a great filmmaker. I don't know him personally. I just saw one of his music videos that he did, and I'm such a big fan of his. He did this music video of Desert Journey. It's a really like it's a one-shot video. It's a really beautiful video. He's not seen a lot. I don't see his work a lot because obviously he's doing a very different kind of work. But a person like Tahir Shah is known all over the country and outside the country. You know, so that's an example of, you know, how much a person in this day and age we don't really base our. I mean, we don't really want people with talent. एक बंदे के पास टैलेंट होगा ना एंड दे बी लाइक अच्छा यार ये कमर्शियल नहीं है इतना, इसको किस तरह बेचेंगे लोगों के सामने, देन दे मतलब उसको नहीं, दैट्स व्हाट द स्ट्रगल इज फॉर लाइक न्यू पीपल हु आर टैलेंटेड, दे कैंट रियली मतलब जब तक आप यू डोंट रियली सेल योरसेल्फ आउट एंड यू जस्ट स्टार्ट डूइंग commercial projects, you're seen everywhere, you know.
Usman, what was a turning point in your life or your career, so to say?
Turning point in my life or my career, there's no such. I think my career-wise, I think when I got engaged, I kind of started seeing, but the engagement didn't last. But that was kind of a turning point in my life. I saw things differently. A lot of things started making sense to me, and I realized a lot of things. So yeah, I mean that probably is, but it wasn't that significant that I mean I could say it was a turning point. But yeah, I mean there was a change in my like career path or whatever, and if there was a big like shift in, you know, the direction I was going, that was, I think, when I got engaged.
What are your thoughts on nepotism?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it's everywhere. It's not in one field, but I mean also I haven't come across such situations, honestly speaking. उससे ज़्यादा situations, and like I've told you, with nepotism I haven't really come across myself in the industry. And honestly, this is one thing that I say कि नए लोगों को भी chance मिलता है. It's not that I've come across such a situation.
Let's talk about your new film, Parchi. What's your character profile and what's the premise of the film overall?
My character is called Bilal. He is working at a newspaper office. Works 8 hours, and whatever he earns, he sends it to his mother, who lives in the village, supports his brother, who's older than him, who's played by Ali,
Ali,
and he's supporting a couple of friends who are living in the apartment as well. So there's a lot of responsibility on his head, and because of that, he's always on the edge. And because of his brothers, the way his brother acts around them, and he's into like street crime and stuff like that. So he's always frustrated on the edge because of that, and that's something that you'll see a lot in the film. Yeah.
So how is Parchi different from all the other mainstream films? What makes it so unique?
Parchi, see, the thing is, now what happens is in our industry and in Bollywood, you have to have a girl in a film, और वो इस वजह से नहीं होता कि she has something, she's very important to the story or something like that. She's just a pretty face, and she has to be there because commercially film बिकेगी नहीं अगर लड़की नहीं होगी, ठीक है? So that is why a girl is there in most of the films, ठीक है? Parchi is one film where we're really proud of this, that a girl is leading the men in the film, and we're all really proud of it. It's going to change a lot of things for women in this industry. I really hope, man, women start getting substantial roles, and that's something that's really needed. We need to give power to the women all around the world. We need to tell the world that women should be allowed to do the same thing that men are allowed to do, and men shouldn't be allowed to do the things that women aren't allowed to do. So we and this is something that we're really proud of, that women, this movie, a woman is leading the men, and yeah,
That makes it unique.
That makes it unique.
So what are your forthcoming projects?
Well, I'm in talks with a couple of channels for some projects. Let's see. I mean, I can't disclose anything right now. I'm still like in talks, and
let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're also, if I'm not wrong, you're also a cinematographer for this film Parchi.
Yes, I am.
And it was your first experience.
No, I've done cinematography for my own projects.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a director, and when I couldn't afford to hire, because see, the thing is, in this country, cinematographers are really expensive. The good ones. So when I was doing projects, and if I couldn't afford cinematographers, I do it myself. So that's how I kind of. Then Kazmi came up to me and he's like, we want you to do the cinematography. I said, I can't. I mean, I can't act and do cinematography
At the same time.
And I was one of the lead characters, so it's really hard for you to be in most of the frames, and then be behind the camera. It's a really, really tough job. I mean, direction and acting is still fine. Production and acting is still fine. Cinematography is a lot of work, and it's a lot of headache dealing with the lights and the equipment and it's. I said I wouldn't be able to do it, and honestly, before starting the film, I actually didn't think I'd go through with it. I wouldn't be able to manage it, but ho gaya. I'm very glad. But that's something that I wouldn't want to do again.
And I'm sure you've done great work in it as well.
I mean, the audience will see and tell, but I'm glad, and I'm really thankful to Allah that, I mean, it happened, and it happened successfully. So I mean, rest of it the audience will tell one day.
Usman, according to you, what is the best and worst thing about being an actor?
Best thing about being an actor is that you can express yourself, and you don't have to shy away. Worst thing about being an actor is sometimes you have to do things that you really don't want to do. As an actor, there are a lot of roles you take up that you don't really feel passionately about, but you have to do them. Sometimes just to pay bills. But sometimes you come across roles that you've been waiting for all your life. So I mean, as an actor, I feel sometimes you just compromise. But that's also with direction or.
So acting is very multidimensional in terms of delivering dialogues. You have to take into account different emotions and stuff like that. So for each emotion, what aspects do you consider for each emotion when delivering a serious dialogue or a romantic dialogue or comedic dialogues. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I personally, I mean, the way I act is I try putting myself in a situation where
Hmm.
I am, I actually imagine my character being in that situation. Uh, you know, I would like to spend some time prior to the scene just getting into the mindset of that character. I sometimes write journals as my character.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that is very important for you. I don't think you should just say out the line. And also, I don't preempt the re- the the reactions.
Mm.
The thing is, if you preempt what the other character is going to say, your um, expressions and your character is going to be slightly different, But if you don't preempt, so I try not to preempt, even though I know the lines that my fellow actor is going to say, but I try to forget that. I try
Okay.
to like let it come
Mm-hmm.
organically.
Mm-hmm. So,
That's
in terms of direction, what do you think needs to improve in Pakistan?
uh, yeah. I think we have directors, but they're not actors directors.
Hmm.
Directors generally, uh, you know, um, they'll do everything. Script हो गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, frame set हो गया, बस ठीक है. They don't work with the actors.
Hmm.
Like a lot of directors do. Like यहाँ पे नहीं होता वो. I mean there are few directors who do that. I mean Asfar did that with us.
Mm-hmm.
Asfar is a great director, I feel. But a lot of directors don't do that. A lot of directors don't have that thing that you sit with the actors, you build their character up, then you also be part of their performance. A lot of directors don't do that. Right?
Hmm. So, lastly, what advice would you render for youngsters who aspire to be like you or who want to become directors or actors?
I mean, I would just say work hard. Uh, don't throw tantrums on sets once you get the fame or once you get to the point where you want to be. Work hard, be passionate, be grounded, and never sell yourself out.
Hmm.
Do what makes you happy.
Hmm.
Do what makes you happy. You don't need to sell out. You'll do थोड़ा टाइम ज़्यादा लग जाएगा आपको वहाँ पहुँचने में लेकिन at least you'll be happy
Hmm.
with what you've done and what you've achieved throughout your career. So, I mean,
Thank you so much, Usman, for
thanks
joining
very
me.
much.
That's all for now. Stay tuned for more weekly videos on my official YouTube channel and Facebook page. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.